Hi, this is Dirk with Remodel AI, and I am here with a picture supplied by Lisa of her kitchen, and she would like to do a couple things. So I'm going to show you how we go about doing these things. She wants to remove this wall, and I assume probably back to here or something since the fridge sticks out a little bit. She wants to open up this window. That may be tough because the AI is going to think this is the outside of the house. She explained in the post lower that this is actually now a screened-in area, so they want to open this up. She also wants to explore maybe some different colors on her cabinets. So I'm going to jump right in and show you how we can accomplish some of those things. Let me switch over to the app. And again, I'm on my tablet here, so yours will look a little bit different on your phone, but it basically works the same. And I'm going to jump into the interior editor. I'm going to load the photo, which I saved on my Google Drive, I believe. There it is. All right, so we're going to start by removing the wall, I believe. Now, obviously, the AI does not know what's behind that wall, so it's going to make something up. But in order to do that, we're just going to use the replace tool, and we're going to replace the wall with basically nothing. So let's replace, and let's do the actual whole image. Oops. Okay, so we're going to edit the whole image, and then we're going to mask over this. I'm doing this in the editor. You can do this individually and just save the image every time. But this is how I'd go about doing this. So basically, we're going to say get rid of this whole wall. And again, you want to make sure you cover everything and then some. So I have extra margins here. I do not want it to see. So if you get it really close to the edge right here and it sees a little bit, it's going to know there's a door here because it's not allowed to change these pixels. So it will keep a door there if you do that. So you want to make sure you cover absolutely everything and then some. And here's a couple tricky things that you got to watch out for. I'm not going to cover this back here because you probably want to keep the wall coming out here to at least where the fridge is, I would assume. Also, we're going to have to change this because it's going to see the doorway reflection in the floor and it's going to know what's there. So it's going to put a door there because if you ask a human the same thing, they're also going to put a door there because they can see the reflection. So unfortunately, we need to go down here and change all this so that the AI cannot see the reflection of the doorway. We can keep the rug. The rug's not reflective. But that's one of the tricky things about AI. It's going to know there's a door there if it sees the reflection. So we need to mask that out as well. Let me get rid of all this, make sure I covered all the margins. And then let's give this a try. I think I got all the areas. Now you could type in anything here. Obviously we want to replace with nothing, but I can just say an open kitchen to give it a hint that we want something that's more open with the dining room area. And you can see it kept a header here. That's because there's a wall here, so it knows this wall, so it's just making up a shape. That's okay. That one's a little more open. And again, it's making up stuff back here because it doesn't know what's behind there. That's also pretty open. But I really think the header would make more sense up here. Let me go back and see. Let's do this and see what it comes up with. So in other words, like give it total freedom to completely get rid of that wall. Or maybe not get rid of the wall. Let's just see what it does. I'm going to use the open kitchen prompt again. I like that a whole lot better. It still has to figure out this kind of odd transition here because there needs to be some transition from here from the blue to the white. So it just made something up, and I think that's fair. I like that too, where the header's much higher. Um, that one I don't love as much, but let's go with this one. This may not be perfect. I don't know what you're envisioning. Also, it would make more sense probably with the counter depth fridge, so this doesn't quite stick out so much into this area. But that'd be step one. You could clean this up and replace this light fixture with nothing. In fact, I'll show you just how to do that real quick. So we don't want that light fixture. Let's say edit the whole image, and then let's get rid of this. I'm not even going to give it a prompt. I'm just going to click generate. And there, it got rid of it. So before, after, before, after. So let's now accept that. And then let's go into, let's see if we could take out this window next. I think it's going to struggle with this, but let's give it a try, because I don't think you see a lot of open air kind of areas behind kitchens. So the AI is not going to be super familiar with that concept, I don't believe. It's also going to think this is outside, and obviously you're not going to want an open area to your outside, but let's give it a try. So let's edit the whole image again, and let's say all this. And by the way, you can get a lot better results if you just clean up your kitchen a little bit and get rid of that box and things, because it's really going to struggle with that box and rendering the box that I masked over and things like that. But let's just give it a try. Now I don't know what to put here. Open air kitchen, outside. You want the AI to basically say replace this window with kind of, an opening. So this might take some experimentation on your part, but this is how I'd go about doing it. And again, you can get quite long here in describing what exactly you want. A kitchen with an open air, outside kitchen. This isn't actually an outside kitchen, but that would help the AI think, explain what you're going for. And like I suspected, it doesn't really understand that. Let's say open air window behind kitchen counter. No window. No walls. That's pretty good. It did replace that with another kind of area outside. I don't know what that outside area looks like, but that I think is kind of what you're going for. So that's actually better than I thought it would do. And you could replace this again to replace this area inside the frame with something different if you wanted to do that. But again, I would experiment a lot on that step. Use mostly the replace tool and figure out what kind of results you can get. And then I believe the last thing you wanted to do was, I'm going to go ahead and file save this. You wanted to play around with different cabinet colors. Now there's a couple different ways to do this. One, before I leave the editor, I will show you, you could use the reskin tool and just reskin the cabinets. That basically is going to say replace this area in the image, but keep the existing 3D structure. So in order to do this, you want to cover all the cabinets so it doesn't know the cabinet color. And it's going to come up with something new. This would give you a way to let it pick something. I don't think light tan's going to work given all the different browns you have here. I think it's going to pick something like white. But let's cover that too. I don't know what that is. Did I get all the brown? Because you want to make sure you cover all the brown, otherwise it'll see. And you could make this a little more exact if you want. But again, you want to make sure you cover everything, because if it sees a couple like that, if it sees that and it says, okay, I know the cabinets are brown, it's going to cover the rest of the cabinets in brown. So just keep that in mind. You really need, when you're creating these masks, you want to cover absolutely everything. That little corner, that's probably good enough. Beautiful cabinets. Nice kitchen. You could experiment here. You could even specify different colors, like, hey, I want a navy blue, and it will guess at the colors that you're saying. But I'm just going to say beautiful cabinets, which basically means it's allowed to pick whatever color it wants. And I'm interested to see what color it comes up with. A gray, that's interesting. Two-tone gray, and another kind of dark. That is very interesting. I thought it would pick white, to be honest. It may be picking that because it sees something else in the image that I missed. And it says, well, I know I need to match that color. Here it did white uppers but black lowers. And here it did another grayish kind of tan. That's just one way you can do it. And again, you could do anything you want here to kind of encourage it. It doesn't always get this 100% right. This is basically encouraging it to replace it with a specific thing. But you can try specifying colors there. I'll show you how you can pick a more specific color in just a second. Yep, and that's blue, navy blue, I'd say. I don't love that. I was just giving you an example of something you could do. But I'm going to cancel out of here. And actually, we don't have the paint tool in the editor yet, so I'm going to file and save, because I'm going to use the paint tool to show you another option. So I save that, and I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to use the Paint Explorer tool. I'm going to load the photo from my images, which I saved here. And now we're going to paint the cabinets. And so this one you actually want it to be as accurate as possible, because it's going to apply paint essentially everywhere that you mask. So you actually want the mask to be somewhat accurate here. You don't have to cover absolutely everything. And this step can take a few minutes, because this one, unlike replace, you actually want to be accurate. And sometimes it struggles to paint existing cabinets, especially if they have a lot of texture, but these are fairly flat in color. So let's give it a try and see how it works. I'm trying to be as accurate as possible and cover everything. Brush really small to get that section, and then let's get this section here. And again, you can always pinch and zoom to kind of get more accurate. It's just hard to do because I'm actually not on an iPad. I'm on a emulator, so I can record the video. So it's a little bit harder, but this is the idea of how it works. Just, oops, did not mean to do that. So I would actually spend time on this step making it accurate, because unlike the replace tool, you want it to be as close as possible. But I'm not going to spend forever to do this because it will bore you out of your mind. So let's just see what this comes up with. So let's pick a paint. You said tan, so I'm just going to search for tan. No, that's not what I would call tan. The other option is you can go into the palette here and say, let's look around at colors. And then once you find something you think's pretty close, you can click OK. Now that's a custom color, but you can also just say, well, what's similar to my current color that I've picked? And so you can pick actual colors, warm stone, bare. If you're a Home Depot person, you'll probably have bare. Otherwise, Sherman-Williams, Benjamin Moore, all the classics are kind of in here. Let's go with Rushing River by Sherman-Williams. So let's pick that color and then just click generate. Now, again, there's a lot of guesswork that goes on here because it's got to look at the colors look very different depending on the lighting, the brightness of the room, what temperature of lighting you have. Colors are a really complex subject, even depends on what monitor you have. So the AI really gives it a best guess of what that might look like to kind of narrow down what you're looking at. And then at that point, I would go and actually get physical samples, paint them on your cabinets or paint them on your wall, or hold them up, tape them to your cabinets for a while and see if you like those. So this is kind of 3 guesses of what that might look like, and that actually looks a lot better than I thought it would. I really actually quite like that, especially with the blue. And then you can explore different colors, saying, okay, I don't love that. Let's try forest wood, which is green. I don't think that's going to work either, but let's see. Forest wood is another Sherman-Williams colors. Too much. Yeah, that's not good. So let's click undo. I preferred this color, which was a nice color, and let's save that. So that's the tools I would basically use to go about exploring this project. The replace tool, replace the wall, the windows, that's going to take some little bit of creative prompting. Again, my suggestion there is when you're masking, which is basically defining what area of the image you want the AI to replace, make sure you go bigger than you think. And always cover reflections and things like that, because the AI can see things in reflections and it will be smart and put the item back if it sees a reflection of the item. Once you've done that, then I would jump into the Paint Explorer and explore different colors on your cabinet. And then when you're finally done, you can always go here to the upscale step. And this will just do a final upscale. It is a little creative. In other words, it will change the room a little bit. That's because when you're upscaling the image so much, you're actually adding details that aren't there to get a sharper image. So you're allowing the AI a little bit of creative freedom in the upscaling process. So you'll notice things might change a little bit, like the colors might change a little bit and the details might change a little bit. But if you want a higher resolution image, that's one way to do it. So hopefully this helps, Linda, and hopefully you can replicate this process on your own, and hopefully it'll help narrow down where you'd like to go with this project. Thank you.